Welcome to the channel. We actually have some of these in our hands. We got actually all three of them. So we got the Foot Soldier, Rennet, and Shredder. So traditionally with reviews on this channel, we will do an overview, we will look at details, articulation, and posing, and then we score it at the end with a nice rating. And so with the help of my cat here, we're gonna make sure that we can unbox at least one of these and figure out if they're really worth the $40. So if you haven't caught up with what's going on with AutoT and NECA and Walmart and all that stuff, so these run $40 a piece. You have to buy them as like a code from Walmart. Go to AutoTVault.com, enter the code, claim your prize, which would be one of these, which would be one of these three figures, or you can do the Bob Ross lithographs, which are pretty sweet, but those run $100. And then shipping is technically included in that price. So the $40, I mean, if NECA's figures like these are usually $32.99 or something, I would say that difference is really just covering the cost of shipping. So I'll have a couple videos down in the description. One of those would be how you can buy these figures at any Walmart, regardless of whether the tags are in your store or not. And then I have a video on the process of how to get them, like how to go online, how to claim them and get them here. So obviously these came in after their 15-day promise. At the end of the day, I guess, you know, you kind of expect that. We'll decide which one we're gonna open up, but if you look at the packaging here, you can see that there's like a little illustration behind all the figures. Every single box says Signature Edition, which is insane because not all of them have a signature. There's a 1 in 10 chance of getting one with There's a 1 in 10 chance of actually getting one of these figures with a signature, an autograph. So it's strange that they call all of these Signature Edition, especially when they had previous releases of this kind of Mirage Comics style. Oh, what the f? I don't know how you're supposed to tell the difference. So the people that got one with a signature, please comment below. I would love to see the difference in the packaging. Ideally, if somebody's buying these third-party, please don't fall for this saying Signature Edition and pay $100 or something for these things. They're $40 items, and that's what they should be sold at. So, if you want one with a signature, find proof in the photos or something that that is an actual signature model. So let's just kind of get an overview of all of the packages between each of these, and then we're gonna open up one of them and look at articulation and all the details and stuff. So let's start here on the left side. We have the Foot Soldier, and as you can see, it does say the Signature Edition, which is false. I didn't get any with an actual autograph, which is a bummer. As you can see in the background inside the box, there's a nice sketch inside of a Foot Soldier from the comics, and technically you can see the signature right there, but it's just printed, so it's not anything special. On the side of the box, we got another drawing style, which is really cool because you see all the blue lines, which is always cool to kind of see this. It's almost like prototype sketching, so you see the blue lines to figure out where we want the pose and everything, which is something I do over here as well, but you can still see them in this, which I really like. So on the back, we have some awesome shots of the figure in different poses. We have the collection so far. On the other side, another sketch. And on the numbers here, this is kind of, if you're following along with collecting this Mirage series stuff, then you have the numbers to associate which version, which is a nice way to like keep track of if you're getting everything. And on the bottom, as you can see, we have all of the call outs for everybody involved in the packaging, the artwork, everything, and obviously Kevin Eastman for the illustration on the packaging inside the box. This is all his stuff, so thanks to Kevin for even letting this be possible. And on the top, we just have the typical stuff here. There's the call outs of warnings for safety hazards and ages and things, but that's the Foot Soldier. We got Rennet here. So as you can see, another sketch in the background, a lot more color in that one, which it is a color figure, so it makes a lot more sense, but you can see all the blue highlights and stuff in that drawing in the background. Again, the signature here from Eastman, but it is just a printed thing on a card. So it's not an actual signature edition. We got a lot of accessories, which you can see there's pretty good detail already. On this side, we have an illustration again, and there's a gnat flying around. That's annoying. And then on this side, a nice, awesome sketch, again with the blue coloring. And then on the back, awesome shots. On the bottom, same thing. We got the call outs of everybody involved, and the top. And then Shredder, which is maybe what everybody is hoping to look at. We have this same setup as the foot soldier. Again, you can see the drawings, stuff in the background, the little printed signature sketch here on the side. The other side here, which is a pretty cool shot of Shredder in action. And in the back, we have obviously the photos of the figure in different positions. Same stuff, same people, and the top. Which one do we look at today? Beep boop bop boop beep 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 boop beep beep boop beep bop boop beep beep bop boop. All right, there it is. The decision has been made for us. So today we're gonna unbox and look at the Shredder figure from this AutoT Nightmare. And there is the card insert, just a better shot of the sketch work, which is basically the same stuff that's on the outside of the box, but that's okay. And then we have Shredder in the plastic, so you can see some accessories a little bit better, and there's like an actual metal chain, which is interesting. Let's take it out of the plastic. So let's look at an overview. We've got the figure itself, obviously looks pretty good. We've got a couple weapon options, a couple different hands. So let's jump into details. So details, as you can see with this one, pretty straightforward. It's just a white base paint and then a lot of black paint to give that sketched look, that inked comic book style. And I have to imagine that as an artist, being able to see one of your drawings in 3 dimensions like this has got to be super cool. Kevin Eastman has done a lot of stuff with NECA, a lot of different brands actually. So a lot of his stuff exists in different spaces. It's got to be super cool for Kevin Eastman to be able to take his drawings and hold them in 3 dimensions. But let's jump into a deeper look at the details here. So as you can see, you can look into the helmet, you can see these eyes, there's some nice sketch work. There's not a whole lot to actually talk about as far as details because it's a simplified figure. Inside the helmet here, there's just a black piece of plastic so that this can go on top of it. You have all of this ink work, which looks really, really nice, but it comes down to the actual sculptors to put it in the effort. So you can see like the little cuts in the knuckles and things. It never fails to see NECA put the extra time and effort into sculpt work where they could have just simplified a lot of this because, you know, maybe the drawing doesn't have it. And if it's white on white, then do you really need to see the knuckles? The line cuts for the knuckles, do you need to see that? Probably not, but for something that's pulled into a 3D environment, you're gonna get shadows and everything. I think they've done a really nice job of putting not only the expected work, but going above and beyond that and taking the extra time to put little indentations into the armor and stuff that isn't inked in, but still adds more life to the figure. So yeah, excellent job. Painters, sculptors, great work. And I love the little pieces back here on the helmet. All right, so let's look into the weapons here. We have the bow, pretty simplified, but it feels sturdy. It doesn't feel like a flimsy piece of garbage like you would get with Gizmo. The bow is actually way nicer than I expected. So good sculpt work and ink, but look, boing. It actually is like essentially a functioning thing. I imagine if you put this bow in here that you could probably shoot it off. It's got a really nice draw to it. Man, that is super cool. And if you look at the detail here of how it's done, how it's created, so you actually have the string wrapped around as if you would a real bow, and it's got a nice strong like knot around it. So excellent job. I am very surprised. A nice texture. Then you have the extra hands, which again, the detail is really nice, and you can see the knuckles, you can actually see the fingernails. For something that is just white, the sculpt work really helps and gives it the detail that maybe you wouldn't expect out of something that should otherwise be so simplified. And then this piece, which actually has a metal chain, which, you know, kind of pulls it away from the comic book drawing, but what else are you gonna do? It's a good touch, I think, for something that's being taken from a 2D environment to a 3D environment. So you can see that this is silver in the blade area and then the rest is the white. So the whole figure is black and white, except for this metal chain and then this silver piece, which is actually kind of a nice highlight. All right, so let's look at articulation of Shredder. So with the head, you can get a nice rotation because there's nothing being blocked by the helmet. Then you can actually look down really nicely because there's a double joint. So you have one here at the base of the neck, and then you have one at the top of the head. So you can get some good downward articulation. Up is just okay, nothing to write home about, but the downward gets pretty good because of this, again, the additional base articulation. And then the left and right tilt is actually really nice. And then when it comes to the arms, we actually have, they can go all the way up, but you'd have to like really force these shoulder pads out of the way. So I would say that they don't technically go all the way around. You just need to go all the way forward and then turn it all the way back. But you can get a nice T-pose out of this figure. The joints are just a little tight as always with NECA items. So just be careful with that. You may need to heat this up. Obviously I just took it right out of the box, but a hairdryer or some warm water for a few minutes can really help soften up those joints so you don't snap anything. So the arms, you have the shoulder, of course, and then you have this bicep rotation, which is awesome. Double jointed elbows, which is the best. It looks like it would rotate here at the forearm, but it does not. And then you have the wrist articulation, which is actually pretty good. Obviously his kind of wrist bandages and the gauntlet or whatever gets a little bit in the way, but not too bad. And then it gets down to the waist, which is just super basic. There's actually no like real hinge points. It just spins, that's it. But the legs are on ball joints, so you get full perfect splits. You get like any kind of rotation you'd want out of that, which is awesome. The forward is like, it's pretty good. I mean, it kind of goes outward a little bit. And then backwards is, it's not bad. There's nothing really getting in the way. The knees are double jointed, which is great. Then you have this rotation here at the calf. And then, of course, some basic ankle articulation, but the best part is, look, toe articulation, which it seems to be a common thing with the animated stuff with Shredder, and that is just a great additional piece. I wish more figures had the toe articulation. It's so cool. But that is it. So articulation is great. Now let's get into posing. All right, so there we have it with Shredder. He isn't too bad at all. I really like this figure. This style is really cool. So let's jump into rating this Shredder. Now, when it comes to details, you can't expect a whole lot. I think it looks exactly as you would want out of a comic book style drawing coming to life. And then the fact that they really put the sculpt work in there and highlighted it with all of the paint work, the line work. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because you can't expect a whole lot, but it does match up really well. So we jump into articulation. Articulation was better than I expected in a lot of different areas. It's just I don't know why the torso and the waist doesn't have like an additional like crunch, bending and stuff like forward and backward, side to side. So the fact it just spins is a real bummer. So the double jointed elbows and knees, and then the fact you get the foot articulation is awesome. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's great. And then when it comes to posing, posing is fun. I mean, you could do a lot with this. I was kind of surprised. Downside to the bow and arrow is that you can't really get it to stay in place. Overall, I think posing was pretty cool. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I think you can get some good stuff out of it. There's just some downsides. So there we have it. We've got Shredder from this NECA AutoT Walmart thing, which was a crazy mess, and it was a great opportunity for content for me, but for most buyers, it was such a pain in the butt. But there's the score, the overall rating of this figure, and is it worth it? Man, I think if you could pick this thing up at cost plus shipping from somebody online, then it's worth grabbing and having it in your collection. It's just really a bummer that you have to pay 40 bucks, which would include shipping. The whole process was a mess. So if you're going through NECA and AutoT, I hope by now when you're watching this video that it is an easier process. I've made a lot of videos to try to help people understand how it works and then how to claim them at any Walmart. So now that I have him in hand, was he worth the whole nightmare in a process? No, but if you can buy him now at an easier process, or somebody can help you get a hold of him, then he's worth it. The longer the stuff exists, the longer it goes on, the easier it's gonna be. So give it a shot, I guess. You know, watch my videos for some support on how this process works out, what to expect. You know, some people chose not to even go with this process because of the whole NFT thing, or maybe there's confusion or whatever. It's just so stupid. They didn't want to support this whole idea, and I get that, and I don't blame you. As a creator, I also wanted to solve the problem, find out what's going on, and experience this so that I could let others know. And with that, I mean, hopefully, you know, I would get this stuff in hand at some point too. I'm gonna go on this journey to try to help solve the problems and share information for others. And I hope that I was able to help other people. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I can just keep talking forever because I'm an idiot. But that's it. So if you want to know more about this process and how you can get a hold of one yourself, then watch this video here where I go in all of that detail, and we will see you next time.